Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and if today is your first time, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Edebo. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful gown with a collar and a stylish loop at the side. If this is something you are interested in, please keep on watching. So the basic things you'll be needing are an ashoke of your choice and a 2.5 yard of Duchess or crepe fabric. Yours can be more depending on your size. And the basic measurements you'll be needing are your underbust length, your waist length, your hip point, your full length, your sleeve length, your bust circumference, your waist circumference, your hip circumference. So I'll be folding my fabric in 4, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. The gown do not have a zipper. I'll be coming down a little bit from the tip of the fabric. This will be my starting point where all my measurements will start from and will be regarded as my shoulder line. And on this line, I'll be measuring out my shoulder length, and to get that, I'll be dividing my back width by 2. Mine is 7 inches. I will then come in on the line by the 7 inches and mark it, and then come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I will then connect that 1 inch to the shoulder line with my ruler this way. From the shoulder slope, I'll be coming down for my armhole depth. That is where my arm will pass through. And to get the measurement to use, I'll be dividing my bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Whatever I get, I'll be coming down from the slope by the figure and mark it. I will then draw a straight line to the side of the gown. This will be the bust line for my gown. I'll be remeasuring the shoulder length again to get an accurate armhole depth. I will then connect the 2 points together in a straight line. Also, in order to get the armhole correctly, on the bust line, I'll be coming in for my bust circumference divided by 4, and whatever I get, I will mark it out. On this line, I will measure the line and divide it in 2 and mark it out. I will then connect that new point to the point on the bust line in a curved line this way. And that's all on the armhole depth and length, okay? The next thing I'll be moving on is the necessary body length for my gown. I'll be placing my tape on the shoulder line to my underbust length and mark it out, and then extend it to the side of the fabric. Next is my waist length. I will still be placing my tape on my shoulder line down to my waist length and mark it out, and then extend it to the side of my fabric. Next is my hip point. I'll be placing my tape on my waist length to my hip point and mark it, and then extend it to the side of the fabric this way with my ruler also. And the next length I'll be taking is my full length. I'll be placing my tape on my shoulder line down to my full length, okay? And I will mark it out. I will then add up 2 inches for hem allowance and extend it to the side of the fabric. And that's all for the length. So I've actually gone ahead to label the lines so it won't be confusing to you guys. So the next thing I'll be doing is creating the opening where I'll place my loops. On my waistline, I'll be coming down by 2 inches and then extend that point to the side of the fabric. So the opening for the loop will actually be from the underbust to the new line I created. And for the width for the loop, that is where I'll be placing the loop. I'll be making use of my bust span, that is my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, and then I'll now add up 1 inch for the dart intake, okay? So I'll be coming in by the figure I got on the underbust line, and then also come in by the figure on the new line and then connect the 2 points together in a straight line. So I'll be moving over to my necessary body measurements. On the bust line, I'll be coming in by my bust circumference divided by 4 and mark it out, and then add up 2 inches. 1 inch will be for ease and 1 inch will be for seam allowance. And then on the waistline, I'll come in by my waist circumference divided by 4 and then add up 3 inches. 2 inches will be for ease and 1 inch will be for seam allowance. And then on the hip line, I'll be coming in by my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 3 inches. 2 inches will be for ease and 1 inch will be for seam allowance. And then on the full length, I'll also be coming in by my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inches. 3 inches will be for ease and 1 inch will be for seam allowance. And after that, the next thing I'll be doing is to connect all the points together. I'll be connecting the bust to the waist to the hip point, and then extend the line to the full length this way, okay? So the next thing I'll be focusing on is the neck. My neck width is 3.5 inches, but because I'm working with the fabric, I'll be using 3 inches, then 0.5 inch will be used for folding of the neck. And the back neck depth is 1 inch. And for the front neck depth, I'll be coming down by 8 inches and then connect the back neck depth with my ruler this way to the neck width. And then I'll also connect the front neck in a straight line this way. And the next thing I'll be doing is to cut out the front and back of my dress. So I will only be cutting the back neck. I won't be touching the front because it's not necessary for this tutorial. I'll be adding a 0.5 inch joining allowance for the shoulder and the armhole of the dress. I will also proceed to opening that opening I made for the loops. I will be using my scissors to open it up this way. And then cut it out this way, not exceeding the lines I created, okay? The next thing I'll be doing is proceeding to the collar of the dress. So the width of the collar is 1.5 inches on fold. That is, one side of the collar will be 1.5 inches and the other side will be 1.5 inches. So I'll be creating the space for the collar. For the back, I'll be coming in by 1.5 inches, okay, on the shoulder, and then connect it to the 1 inch neck depth in a curved line like this, okay, and cut it out. I will then take out the back fabric to focus on the front. I'll be extending that 1.5 inches to the full length of my gown from the initial front neck depth. That was why I said earlier that cutting the front neck depth was not necessary for this tutorial. And when I'm done extending the 1.5 inches to the full length, I will just be cutting along the line, okay? And that's all on the collar. Next is to cut the sleeve of my gown. I'll be measuring the armhole length after the 0.5 inch joining allowance. Mine is 9.5 inches. I've gone ahead to bring in another fabric and is actually on fold. That's for the front and the back of the sleeve. I'll be drawing a straight line at the top of the fabric, okay? And then come down for my sleeve cap, and to get that, divide your bust circumference by 10. Mine is 3.5 inches. I'll be drawing a straight line on the fabric this way, and then come in by the armhole length I measured before, which was 9.5 inches, and mark it. I will then draw a diagonal line from the new point to the first line. Divide the diagonal line in two, and then the first line should also be divided in two. And then I will come up from that new point by 0.5 inch. I will then connect it this way. Just watch what I'm doing, okay? This is for me to get my sleeve correctly. Okay, my sleeve length is 25 inches. I'll be placing my tape on the first line down to the 25 inches and then add up 2 inches for hem allowance, and then draw a straight line to the side of the sleeve. On the line, I'll be coming in by my armhole length of 9.5 inches and then add up 2 inches. I want the length of the sleeve to be fuller. I will then connect the 2 lines together this way and cut the sleeve out, leaving 0.5 inch joining allowance at the top of the sleeve. So I'll be keeping that aside to focus on the gown. So the next thing I'll be focusing on is the loop for the gown and the strap to use. That is the rope to use. I've gone ahead to cut out extra fabric that is 2 inches wide, and the length that will be enough to accommodate the loops. It will be a 5 loops for each opening. I'll be folding it in 0.5 inch in twice and then fold it again this way, and then I'll just go over to my machine to sew them together. And then I will also cut out another 2 extra fabric that is also 2 inches wide, and it should be long enough to accommodate the strap or the ropes for the loops. Okay, so this is the final result after I was done sewing the strap, that is the rope. I have also gone ahead to cut out 3 inches length for the loop, and I also cut a reasonable amount that can be able to accommodate the opening. I'll be bringing in the front and the back of my dress to attach the loops to them. I'll be dividing the opening by coming in from the top of the opening. Okay, I'll be coming in 1.5 inches till the end of the opening. I'll be folding my fabric this way to impute the loop. I will then take one of the loop and fold it up this way and then impute it on the opening and pin it down. I'll also be doing the same thing to the other points. Then after I'm done with that, I'll be going over to my machine to sew them together, and it should be sewn like I'm creating a dart for a gown. I will equally be doing the same thing to the other openings for the front and the back of my dress. And this is the final result after I was done sewing them together. The next thing I'll be doing is to join the front and the back shoulder together. And then after I'm done joining the front and the back shoulder together, I will just go over to my machine to sew them together with 0.5 inch joining allowance. And this is it after I was done sewing them together. Next thing I'll be doing is proceeding to joining the front and the back of my dress together. I'll be joining them together this way and then sew the both of them together with 1 inch seam allowance. And this is it after I was done sewing them together. I'll be focusing on the hem of the dress. I'll be folding the hem of my dress by coming in 1 inch twice. That is eliminating the 2 inches hem allowance I added while drafting my gown, and then sew them together with my machine. And this is it after I was done sewing them together. The next thing I'll be focusing on is the color of my dress. I'll be measuring from the hem of my dress to the back neck of the dress and then notch the center of the dress so I can get an accurate measurement. And whatever measurement I get, I'll use that figure to cut out the collar. So I've gone ahead to cut out the length I got, and I also cut out 4 inches width for the collar. I actually cut out 2 pieces, that is for one side of the collar and the other side. The 4 inches width for the collar comprises of the 1.5 inches for the collar times 2 plus 1 inch for joining allowance. The collar will be folded in 2. So because the ashoke was not long enough to accommodate the both side of the collar, I had to cut it twice, okay? So I'll be joining it together with 0.5 inch joining allowance, and this is that I was done sewing them together. And to get the collar right, I will still need to measure the back neck width. And whatever I get, I will be dividing it by 2. Reason is because the collar is actually folded in two, one for the other side of the collar and the second for the other side. I'll be coming down by the figure I got on the ashoke and mark it out, and then also come down by my front neck depth of 8 inches, and from that point I'll be dividing the ashoke in two all the way to the end of the ashoke, but stop at a 15 inches length before the end of the fabric. The 15 inches will be an opening for the gown. So I'll be going over to my machine to sew on that line that I drew. And this is it after I was done sewing on the line. Next thing to do is to join the ashoke this way, join the two sides of the ashoke this way. That is creating the opening for the neck and the down part. So I'll be bringing in my fabric to attach the collar to it. I will still be notching the center of the back neck to be sure where I'll be imputing the collar from, and then place the center of the collar, that is the joint part, to the place where I notch, and then I will start pinning the collar to the fabric all the way to the end of the gown. So this is it after I was done pinning it down. I will also be attaching it on the other side of the fabric, and then go over to my machine to sew them together with 0.5 inch joining allowance. And this is it after I was done joining them together. Okay, the next thing I'll be focusing on is the sleeve and attaching the sleeves to the dress. I'll be bringing back my sleeve and then fold the hem of my sleeve by coming in 1 inch twice. That is eliminating the 2 inches I added for hem allowance, and sew them together with my machine. I'll be doing the same thing to the other sleeve. Okay, and this is it after I was done sewing them. I'll be joining the two sides of the sleeve together like this and sew them together with 1 inch joining allowance. And this is it. This is the two sleeve after I was done sewing them. I'll be bringing back my dress to attach the sleeve to it. I'll be notching the center of the sleeve this way. I will then attach the sleeve to the armhole and then pin it together, right side facing each other. And then after I'm done pinning them together, I will then sew the both of them together with 0.5 inch joining allowance. I will also be doing the same thing to the other sleeve. Okay, I'll go over to my machine to sew them together. And this is the final result after I was done sewing the sleeve and attaching the strap, that is the rope, to the loops. And that's all on how to sew this beautiful gown with a collar and a stylish loop. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more interesting videos like this. Bye. See you in the next one.